So one of the biggest things that you've been able to do in your career is work multiple projects, multiple careers at one time. You've been super effective at it. Most recently with Wineville, that is streaming everywhere right now. You are not only the director, but you produce the thing too. So walk us through that. That's a big project. And I'm sure it took a lot of your, your business savviness, your creativeness. Walk the audience through that journey.
It was a crazy journey, from start to finish. It started actually with, there was a gentleman who was going to wrote a story, not Wineville, but a previous story. I wanted to do a horror film and he was going to direct it. And, during the whole pre-production process, he went to jail. I mean, that's just to show you or tell you the start of this journey.
You're like, great, here we go.
So I start all over from scratch, find a new director, find a new writer to create and write this new story, which I'm so glad that we did, because now it became my story with the writer, right? It wasn't someone else's story. So we went to the location, which was my friend's winery. He said, yeah, you want to shoot a movie? You can shoot it here. So we went to his winery and, was able to scope out and create the story around the location, around myself and my son, who was going to be playing my son, what kind of characters I wanted us to be. And so we were able to create this story, which was kind of cool. And it made it, logistically easier to shoot. But it was a crazy journey. We also were shooting kind of still in that COVID era where you had to still wear masks and still had to go in and test for, to make sure everyone didn't have COVID. Well, the day one of shooting, I was all excited. And then we did our testing, and then our wardrobe gal, the costumer, had freaking COVID. And my film is a period piece. It was based in 1978. So it's not like you could just go down to Walmart, and get some clothes. I mean, it was serious business. So we had to scramble to get someone to replace her for, that first week while she's, masked up in the hotel room. But there was constantly things like that happening. And
wasn't that at the time? Sorry to interrupt. Wasn't that also around the time like SAG? There was an issue with SAG too. You had to get approval to do movies and all types of projects.
Oh,
and
yeah.
things, right?
Yep. Approved because of the COVID, which was another whole crazy thing. And that's, wearing all the hats, being producer and actress and all the things on set. I had to be pulled in so many different directions. Speaking of SAG, last minute we had to do a FaceTime with them while I'm on set trying to do a scene. Had to run in and FaceTime with them. Another day, oh my gosh, one of the prop masters sprayed paint in her eyes. We had to get her to the emergency room. I mean, it really was nonstop. So I don't know how Bradley Cooper does it. He does all those hats too, and those are huge films. But it's a lot to take on everything. I won't do everything next time, but I'll always
learn your lesson
because I like having. I don't want to sound like control freak, but I do like having control of everything and having my say and input into every little thing so that I put my stamp on it and make sure it gets done right. Because I kind of have that little bit of philosophy, if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself, or at least delegate very well. But it's, it is my passion. It's my love. As hard as it was and as hard as it is, it doesn't matter, right? Because when you love something and you love doing it, it doesn't feel like work. Is it hard? Absolutely. But it doesn't feel like a job, it's just you're doing something that you love. And I love producing and I love acting.
Well, I love it, because I can look at that, and for the audience, listening or watching is, when things go wrong in our lives, right? We have a choice. We could sit there and we can be mad about it, or we can find the solution. Like day one of shooting for you guys, someone gets COVID, someone gets arrested, now you got to find a new writer before it even, and then, but most people in that moment, they're going to think my project is torched now, right? Because I got to find a new writer, but it worked out in your benefit, right? It worked out. So now it's your story. So no matter what happens in our lives, like I challenge the audience to really listen, rewind back the past, 5 minutes and listen to this over again. Like everything in our lives chronologically, it could be happening to us or for us. And in your instance, you chose to be like, this is happening for me and I'm going to implement something else and make it better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that is a very good example of something that went terribly wrong that I could have just spiraled down, um,
Yeah.
but didn't, and took that as an opportunity. And it ended up being so much better. The
Mhm.
script was so much better. I mean, the whole experience, everything was so much better because of that bad thing that happened. And it could have went either way. I could have gave up,
Yep.
or I could do what I did and just switch it up and pivot. I find that
Mhm.
there's a lot of pivoting in this business, or in life in general, right?
Yep.
So, even when it seems like, oh my God, how could this get any better or worse, or now I'm done? No, just freaking pivot, man, and do something else and just figure
Yeah.
out a way to get it done.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I agree with that, and I think that's one of the things that gets people like stuck, right?
Mm,
Is because they get caught in the emotion of
mm,
the actual thing that is going on. And I think at some point, Brandy, to be truthful, like and honest with everybody, we all feel that way momentarily. High
mhm,
performers, though, they
mhm.
go, all right, I got to do this anyways, right? And how can I systematically and just, piece by piece move forward instead of staying stuck in that moment? What are
Yeah.
some of the things that you do in your own mind? And I know you've been working on, the self-improvement for a very long time, right?
Mhm.
How it once you get in a moment where you're stuck, how do you work out of it very quickly?
Hmm. Well, think about the alternatives,
Hmm.
which you never want. You don't want the alternative, which is to not move forward. Um, and I really, I'm a big, meditator. I will say, like in the morning, if I don't meditate and do my gratitude list and all the things that I love to do in the morning, I will feel a little bit lost. But once I get
Mm,
grounded again and I do that, sometimes things just become clear, and um, I'll write stuff down and I just get calm and I think about what I need to do
I
and
love
I
that.
get creative.
Mm,
Um, and now, shoot, we have Chat GBT or whatever. We don't even have to like rack our brains so much like we
mm.
used to, with our little cloud circle, and we put it, and then all the things to
Oh, the
brainstorm that
word
we used
clusters,
to do.
the brainstorming.
Yes, we don't have to do that anymore. Now we have,
Yeah.
our AI to help us brainstorm,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
now we have all these tools that make it even easier for us to succeed, which is
Yeah.
so cool. But yeah, no, sitting down, getting clear, and writing shit down, and figuring out your next move. And when you start doing that brainstorming and start listening and reading or listening to self help books, it really helps to trigger what you need to do next. It will come
Yeah.
to you because it's in there. You just have to clear it out and get creative with it, and it's going to come out.
I think it's just super important to your point about whether you meditate or you go for a walk or run or lift
Mhm.
some weights,
Yeah.
do whatever. When I find that I don't work out first thing in the morning, I'm completely like it's hard for me to ground, right?